Matt with MCB Performance here. Today we wanted to do a video going over the differences or the advantages of the MCB Pro Series clutches that apply to mainly the Polaris Razor 1000, 900, 800, and we even use the same clutches on all the Sportsman ATVs. I'll start out with the fixed sheave. The biggest difference in our fixed sheave versus Polaris's and everyone else's is we have our spider is splined instead of threaded. If you look at any stock Polaris or anybody else's, you have to thread the spider on to assemble the clutch. The advantage of a spline versus threaded is we have seen over the years several cases where the jam nut and spider come loose during riding, and I'm not quite sure how that happens because the rotation of the clutch should be self-tightening. It may be the engine braking that does that, and it also only seems to be on machines with tuners adding horsepower. So with a spline, obviously it cannot come unthreaded because it's not threaded. The other big difference is the stock jam nut is only a 3/8 of an inch tall, giving you 2.5 or about 1/4 inch of thread engagement and or thread Loctite. With ours, we have what's called a threaded collar. We have 1.25 inches of threads getting engagement and giving you the Loctite. The other advantage of this collar ties into our faceplate design. When we thread the collar onto our clutch, we are making the main post 38 millimeters in diameter versus 28 millimeters in diameter. That gives you a 44% increase in surface area of the bushing in the faceplate. That increase is significant in keeping the entire movable sheave assembly from, as the bushings wear, when the belt loads it, it starts to cock or bind. The more surface area you can have both on your movable sheave bushing and your faceplate bushing, the longer you will keep that parallel to the fixed sheave, running truer, reducing heat, reducing binding. The next advantage of the MCB clutch is in the spider. All stock Polaris clutches have a spider puck that's 16.9 millimeters in diameter. Our puck is a rectangle. It's 22 by 26 millimeters. We're using the entire surface area that it pushes off of on the movable sheave. The reason that's important is if you think about the spider, when it's on the movable sheave, this is on the crank. If your machine makes 100 horsepower, all 100 horsepower is being translated through the fixed sheave into the spider, and that puck, that 16.9 millimeter puck, is what's pushing on the flat of the movable sheave. In these side-by-side environments where you have dirt, you probably can't see it on this one, but this is a stock when this thing is worn probably 20, 30, 40 thousandths. So when that happens, your pucks get loose in the spider. They can actually shear where they're sitting in the pocket. I've seen them shear, or they just fall out, and your spider is loose in the movable sheave rattling around. With ours being the size that it is, that's a 2.5 times more surface area, or 250% more surface area, which just gives the clutch a ton of longevity because you're dispersing that load over 2.5 times the surface. The movable sheave itself is basically the same. We do have a little bit of a different bushing we run in ours, but the highlights of the clutch are the spline spider, no jam nut, bigger faceplate bushing. It's a billet faceplate, but that's kind of irrelevant. I mean, it does give it some strength. It looks cool, but the whole idea going to billet was just to get the bigger bushing with the sleeve collar. The real advantage is where all the force is loaded right here in these pucks. We're 2.5 times larger than stock or all the setups that I've ever seen. So that's the advantage of the MCB Pro Series clutch. They come with a 1-year warranty, and if you do a review on them, I think you'll find that people, for the most part, are very happy.